bookkeeping might be kind of useless. If all that's happening are expenses getting tagged to a certain account and you have a spreadsheet you never look at, that's not bookkeeping, that's digital filing. Good bookkeeping should give you clarity, not confusion. It should help you make smart decisions, not just keep the IRS off your back. In this episode, we're breaking down what useful bookkeeping looks like, where most bookkeeping falls short, and how to tell when it's time for an upgrade. If your books are always late, your reports make no sense, or tax season feels like a panic attack, you need to hear this. Let's get into it. Welcome to episode 4 of the Unfiltered Profit podcast. I'm Seanna, and I'm here with my business partner, Caitlynn, and today we're diving into why your bookkeeping might be useless. I'm excited to touch on this.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic because we've got a variety of bookkeeping, right? You've got the people, you've got the technology, and now we've got the world of AI. So I guess let's talk about what constitutes good bookkeeping.
Yeah, that is the best place to start. First of all, bookkeeping needs to be timely and accurate. So if you're not getting answers about where you stand in your business until I don't know, God forbid, April of next year. So if you're like, how much do I have in revenue? I don't know. I'll tell you once my taxes are filed. That is, just stop listening now and reach out to an accountant. That is not a way to run a business. So that is not timely in any sense of the word. But even if it's just several months behind, we need to be checking in on our financials as business owners on a regular basis.
We really do. And I think that's been the theme of these few episodes that we've done so far, because we're coming at you from, this is episode 4. So we've really tried to hit with you guys that you can't just put your head in the sand like an ostrich and be like, my books are fine, there's money in the bank. Because if you're taking this seriously and running a serious business, which you are if you're listening to this, those things matter. That timeliness matters. While I don't think there's any world where we have bookkeeping done on day 1 of the next month and fully closed out, at the biggest corporation level with all the accounting department, that still doesn't happen there. There's still a way to have clean, timely books.
Yes. I think for the most part, we can have books that give it a highly accurate overview of how things sit, even if you have a couple of lingering transaction questions hanging out there at month end. But kind of getting into that accurate piece, we've got to have some meaningful categorization of those transactions. I think, I always tell clients when we have initial consults that people come to us for one of 2 reasons. They've been doing their books themselves and they're tired of it and they don't think they're doing a good job, or they think that their current accountant is not doing a good job. But either way, someone's not doing a good job and they don't have the information they need. And one of those places is categorization of transactions. Because if you're not putting expenses in the right place, then how do you make a business decision and know, should I cut out that subscription, or how much am I paying those contractors? You can't make any decisions if things are in the wrong spot.
No, you can't. And just to color it from the tax side, this is probably bad. When we talk about accounting, you'll hear throughout these, Seanna is very much more on the accounting side and I've been very much more on the tax side. And so when a new business comes to me and they're like, where do I put it? I will legitimately say, I don't care, because for taxes, it doesn't necessarily matter. You want it to look reasonable and stuff, but when I'm doing a tax return, if you call it office supplies or furniture, I really don't care. I just need to know that we've got a decent thing. But back to Seanna's point, you can't make a decision from that. So you have 2 different purposes. And as a business owner, you should be honoring the accounting. And if the accounting is clean, the return is fine. But yeah, it gets to the point where you're like, okay, why is my office supplies $5,000 and last year it was $1,000? Was it really office supplies, or did you put some other things in there that you need to take a look at?
Yep. And that's why I always tell people you need the tax brain and you need the accounting brain helping you, because if you have someone that's just focused on taxes, they might set up your chart of accounts in a way where you're like, well, that's not meaningful for making business decisions. But it really helps with their tax prep and makes that
if everything looked like a Schedule C and you had all of those things. But guys, the Schedule C is so outdated. It does not have software on there. Still, in 2025, there is not a specific line item for software, and that part still blows my mind. I was like, come on. This is probably one of the biggest line items for most businesses today. And you have telephone, but not software. It's baffling to me.
Yeah. And talking about categorization, we can't skip over AI, right?
Right.
Every software is building in AI. Everyone's using it. But even, in QuickBooks, it will tell you, and I think if you're a business owner using QuickBooks, you're like, yeah, I log in and it tells me that Hardee's was office supplies. Is that right? No, it's not right. AI is not an accountant.
It's not in QuickBooks, especially. We've all come across it. They create those rules, right? So if you go to an accountant and they dare to dig into the rules that maybe you set up as a business owner, and they're like, by the way, these are all wrong. They're not accurate. They're not pulling everything. They guessing. Whereas if you're hiring people, I mean, our team, especially, what I know is that we go and Google and we sit there and look like, where were you? Where did this take place? What makes sense? Because the last thing we want to do is bombard you with all these questions, because now you're going to be like, why did I hire? The point is that as humans, we're like, that, I don't know what that is. Let me dig into that. Okay, it looks like software. Let's confirm. But I've looked, I found the company. I'm pretty accurate. Hardee's, I know, is not software. Like those things. But AI is just going to sit there and be like, well, we're just going to put it here. And especially if you just like accept that rule, you've now messed up your books for the whole year and made your life so difficult.
Yes. And by having a human look at it, we're a first line of defense against fraud if your card is compromised. It's like, oh, well, you were not in China. I don't know.
Right. It's not even that. I think it's even people who are like, hey, that's really weird that the software company charged you twice within 2 days and the amounts look about right. Like, did you mean to do that? We're closing our books this week for some clients, and I just sent one. I was like, you have 4 charges of the exact same amount within the same month. Were you on a payment plan, or did something happen? And you're just not going to get that from AI. It's going to be like, classified, I'm done, thanks, I'm going to go take my nap now.
Yep, absolutely. And then the next aspect of bookkeeping that we need to be on point and why timeliness matters is looking at cash flow in your business, right? Like, yes, we can all log in and look at our bank account, our bank balance, and know like, okay, I have cash. But let's talk about those recurring expenses that happen every month. Do you have enough cash in your bank account for all of those that are going to happen this month, plus payroll, plus all of those things? If you're working with someone that's actually looking at your financials, then they can say, hey, on average, you spend $5,000 a month in expenses, and right now you've only got $7,000 sitting there. We're going to be coming up on a pinch in some period of time if we don't have more revenue coming in. You can't have those meaningful conversations with outdated books.
No, or with a robot. Like if the bookkeeping is bad, if the sole information, like, because I know that's a popular thing. People are like, oh, I just plugged my profit and loss into ChatGPT and it told me all these cool things. Awesome. But was it accurate? And understanding that cash flow is so important, because it's not over at payroll. It's quarterly taxes. And so if you guys are getting tax preparers who are like, hey, this is your tax bill, and then noping out, which is quite common, they're not solving that cash flow problem for you that like a bookkeeper would do. And I know we just delivered a bunch of tax estimate news to people, and we get some clients be like, well, that's big. But like, because we're their bookkeepers, I was like, yeah, but you have the cash. We've seen the cash. Like, it's okay. I wouldn't just deliver this bad news and then like walk away if you didn't know how to pay for it, because it's a team effort. And so that cash flow, like those quarterly, that payroll, it's so important. And no robot is necessarily going to do that, at least not where they stand today. The quality's not there.
Yep. And at the end of the day, a robot still doesn't have emotion. So if you're like mad about your tax payment, I always joke that we're a little bit financial therapists, you know, like
we are.
You need to vent about business and how it's hard and employees and all the things. We're here for that too.
We're going to hold your hand while we tell you that you owe 6 figures of taxes. But we've also seen it all too, which I think helps, which again, the robot hasn't. Like, I've been at the companies where our quarterly tax estimates were like $500,000. We paid that. They were much more than that. But anyways, we've like paid those. So yes, we've got that experience. And I think that matters. And we've seen all the businesses through all the things that matter with how you do your cash flow, because we're not waiting for you to ask questions necessarily. We're trying to be proactive and be like, hey, this is what we see. These are the trends. This is what's going on. You've got 6 months of maybe declining revenues or increasing revenues. Like, let's talk about that and the expenses that go with it.
Yep. It's a conversation. Your financials should create a conversation of how you want to continue to run your business or how you need to pivot. And if your bookkeeper is not giving you that kind of insight, you don't feel like you can have those types of conversations, or you don't feel like you can look at your financials and get that type of insight, then your bookkeeping's not very good, whether it's a robot or a human.
It is true. And you as the business owner have to have some responsibility for making those. And some months you might be like, all I need is that profit and loss report. I guarantee you when those months hit that you're like, gosh, I need someone who just knows more and knows my business. That's when you're going to want that bookkeeper who has taken the time to classify everything, who knows that transaction when you bring it up and they're not like, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, it takes time to learn a client's business. It really does. And yes, that's looking at the same transactions over and over and seeing the picture. Sure, I can like meet with someone today and pull up their books and tell them some things, but when you're in the trenches with them over time, you get way more insight and ability to have meaningful conversations.
And care. I think there's that care to it. Like, we want you to win. We want to be here to help you win. And that's by having bookkeeping that makes sense to you and to the IRS.
Yes. I want to wrap up with a couple of very easy things that have come up in conversation recently when people in initial consults. When working with a human bookkeeper, I think there are some things that some people still don't know exist that can make your life easier as a business owner. So first, if your bookkeeper is not asking for read-only access to your bank to go in and pull statements themselves and look at transactions or reconnect bank feeds in QuickBooks, if the bank allows that aspect of it with read-only access. But if they're not asking for that access, you probably need to look for a more tech-forward bookkeeper. And along those lines, if they're not reaching out and asking transaction questions, like you literally are like, I don't know, they just categorize everything. Okay. Like they're probably not putting things in meaningful places. You probably need a new bookkeeper. If they're not like making sure your products and services in QuickBooks match with what you have going on in your business and simplifying that reporting or expanding that reporting so that it shows more detail of your actual revenue streams, you probably need a new bookkeeper. So those are just some final little things that have come up in conversation that fit well with this topic of your bookkeeping might not be very good.
Oh, without a doubt. Especially the read only. Like, it is worth switching bank accounts to let your bookkeeper have that read only access. Because again, one less thing you as a business owner have to do every month is be like, oh, I gotta go pull my statements to send it over. And it's annoying. We get it. It's annoying. And we would much rather just pop in and pull them for you.
Yes, absolutely.
So if your bookkeeper's not helping with those things, if they're not helping you manage that cash flow and at least having those discussions and being there for it, it's probably time for that upgrade and it's time to find someone else who maybe is that better fit. What are some other services, I guess, that people maybe don't think that bookkeepers offer because they've worked with maybe a tax-focused pro in the past that could make their life easier?
Well, I know like from our standpoint, we do a lot on just offering custom reporting, helping make sure QuickBooks is syncing up to whatever project management system you're using, accounts payable, accounts receivable. There are a lot of different options that are kind of that back office accounting model that we support business owners with. So it doesn't have to just be your transactions are done and you're like, yeah, but I still have all these other aspects of my finances that are not covered, or I still don't have any insight into what's going on. We can build better reports. We can get you that information. And it doesn't have to be incredibly expensive from our standpoint because it doesn't have to be a ton of hours. We can set up custom reporting that still comes out from the system.
So don't be afraid, I guess, as a business owner to ask. And if the current solution doesn't fit, then don't be afraid to go find a new one. You deserve reports that are on time and that have good categories. You deserve those conversations to run this business, and it is worth the investment to get there. Yes. So take a hard look at what you're getting, and if it's not helping you grow, it's probably time for that change. And if we hit a good nerve in a good way, then please share this with others. Follow us on socials. All of that will be in the show notes, and we will catch you with our next episode.